Welcome to Left On Wed.
Bite-sized tips for people getting hitched. Georgia Fletcher.
Adam Sini.
In the same room.
How did we get here?
In this part of town.
Like the episode's going to start here. Isn't it sad that bees die when they sting you?
Yeah, that's really awful. Unlike wasps. I got stung by a wasp a few weeks ago.
You're right, mate.
It just keeps stinging, those things.
It's a good thing that you didn't forget how much you hate wasps.
I will never forget how much I hate wasps.
Hey, what's today's topic?
About frequently forgetting things on your wedding or in the lead up to your wedding.
Eating.
Don't forget.
Don't forget. But not just like during, reception. Couple get up and walk around and they forget their food goes cold. You forget to eat. But not just then. On the whole day. Breakfast, lunch. Got to make sure you fill those bellies because when I don't eat, I get sad and tired like a little baby. And Ange goes, "Have you eaten today?" And I'm like, "No." And then she gives me a sandwich and I'm good because I'm a little boy. I'm a little boy stuck in a big man's body and I need to eat food all the time.
Do you know what you've seen at a wedding before, which was really good? The cake. Don't forget to eat the cake.
Don't forget to eat the cake.
If you forget to eat the cake, make sure that your venue can save a tier of it so that you can, not a literal tier, but the tier, like a layer,
I'm
one
with you.
top of it. And then you can freeze
Freeze it. Eat it on
You
your
can
wedding
eat it later.
anniversary.
But you've seen a really cool idea at a wedding where the couple definitely didn't
Oh, yeah.
forget their cake.
Right? They're going to walk down the aisle. This is coming up. They're walking down the aisle at the end of their ceremony. They're going to set up the cake at the end of the aisle. So they're literally going to walk down the aisle, cut the cake. Then they're going to do a speech there. So that's all done.
I've got a song about that. Afternoon
Stop it.
delight.
Oh, yeah, afternoon, that's good. They always say that what they like to do in the afternoons, the two of them little cuties, have coffee and cake together. So all their guests are going to eat coffee and cake then, and they're not going to forget to eat the cake. One thing we see a lot, cake, they forget a cake knife sometimes.
Yes.
You get to the cake cutting table, there's no cake knife.
$7 from Big W. That's as easy as it is to pick up a cake knife. I had to do that for a friend recently.
Your venue will probably have one, but you know.
Don't assume.
To assume is to.
Make an ass of you and me.
Yeah, so don't do it.
If we were in America, that would sound better.
Ass.
Yes, but we're not.
We've got American listeners. You looked at the stats?
I haven't.
7% of our listeners are in America.
Wow, who are you? Where did you come from?
Can you slide into our DMs and tell us what the hell you're doing?
What are you learning?
What is anyone learning, really?
Well, apparently we're veterans and we know exactly what we're talking
Okay,
about.
well, from you, industry vet and Georgia Fletcher, what do you think you see people forget a lot? What's something that pops into your little brain?
Well, other than eating, cake knives, what else do people forget? I've forgotten what.
Oh, okay. I thought you had something. That's why I threw to you. Okay, what about this? I'm going to go to the very start of the day. They're getting ready. We're going to go to the people who might be wearing ties.
Oh, classic.
How do you tie a tie?
I don't know. Don't ask me.
How often do you hear this? I didn't go to a private school. In fact, my school didn't have a uniform that I went to. So I didn't learn to tie a tie until I was an adult. It's quite difficult. What's even worse that I hear a lot is like a groom getting a bow tie, like one that you actually have to tie. They are really difficult to do if you don't know how to do it. And watching a YouTube video on the day of, although fun and funny, if you don't have the time for it, it's actually quite difficult and you want to look good in your photos.
And they often end up looking very different. So
Yeah.
we do need to do a little bit of tweaking around that. So
your
find that
research.
YouTube video that you like.
Or if you, this is what I do, you might have seen I wear bow ties at weddings. They're all clip-on bow ties.
Oh,
They're already
genius.
tied. They're not real. And they look just as good.
As a primary school teacher, I do some uniforms also have like an elastic tie. Maybe you can find those for weddings too. Kids don't have to learn anything
like a clown.
these days. Yes, exactly. They don't have to learn how to do a tie in school.
During those times when you're getting ready, your photographer comes in and gets all those little shots. What are some specific shots that you might want to see, those detail shots, Georgia? You're across details. You're a detail
Yeah, I
person.
do like details. And some people are very honest, especially in recent conversations that I've had with couples about photos they definitely don't want, because what they may like to prioritize in their photo package that they get, if they got an 8-hour or 6-hour package with their photographer, they may want more formalities and dance floor time than they do getting ready photos. But there are photos with your family that you might want to square away early, like photos with just you and your parents, just you with your bridal party. That way you don't have to do those later on. Or if you forget, like yesterday, huge family photo list. And in the end, they were like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. So the more you can do earlier on, with family and different groupings, that's fantastic. And if you like those details photos with the rings and your invites, you can start getting beautiful symbols or parts of your wedding, elements that you've thought of that are very personal, and have those ready so you don't forget to photograph them.
On the like family photos thing, I think some people say to me they like wish they had or they love the photos they got with their grandparents, especially. It's like
Yeah,
if
do
you're
them
so lucky
first.
that they are there, that's a really special memory to have. We've got photos with all our grandparents and us on the wedding day. It was something we prioritised because it was like one day we are going to really cherish this when they're no longer with us. So that was something that we really thought about as well. I'm glad that we did.
I often say, in 5 years' time, who are you going to look back and wish you'd gotten a photo of and with?
Yeah. And speaking of that, the group shot, right?
Oh.
Little spoiler. A lot of photographers don't love doing the group
Oh,
shot.
do we speak on behalf of vendors now?
Oh, yeah.
Photographers, feel free to comment on this post if you can verify
some
Adam's
do, right?
allegation.
And group shots can be great. But really, what are you gonna put the group shot on your wall with 100 people and like this guy closing his
Look,
eyes?
a little
and...
shout out to the Two Monties podcast. Monty King, he said,
Yeah.
Monty King, you said this, I'm sure, that you have yours framed in your house.
Does he?
Yes, I'm sure they said that in one of their earlier episodes.
The Two Monties podcast is a great podcast.
It is a fantastic podcast.
They trash everyone and anything, and we should do it right here. You brought it up. Two Monties podcast sucks. You guys suck. Who wears sunglasses inside? Get over yourself, Monty. We're gonna create beef with someone. That's what they do.
We don't have to do
We did. I just did. Who wears sunglasses inside? Honestly, get over yourself, Monty. Is it too much? I think I like that.
Back to group photos. The 10 or 15 minutes that you could be gathering everybody, it is a whole lot of choreography to get people
Yeah.
stage left, stage right, squishing in. If you can't see me, I can't see you, get your sunglasses off. You could be getting candid photos, hugging and cuddling your guests.
I want to go back a little bit.
Oh.
Put the car in reverse for
Again.
me. We're going to go back.
Please don't cause an accident.
Okay, you're tying your tie, then you put on your suit. Well, it's a little bit crinkled. What do you need for that?
A steamer.
A steamer. Not an iron, steamer.
So you brought an iron today, though,
I did bring an iron today.
but I have a steamer in my car.
I have a steamer at home as well.
Very handy. Yes, you've got one where you can put the garment hanging up.
You
on
hang
the
it up and
forehead.
then you...
It's quite a system.
And it does a really good job of... you know what I would do?
What would you do?
I'd go to Harvey Norman the week of the wedding. I'd buy a steamer, get the receipt, use it, put it back in the box and return it and get a refund.
Makeup.
Lipstick, right?
Oh.
Never thought about this, and you told me about this. Is that you got to use a straw to drink? Is that right?
Yes, you should have a straw if you can. I mean, look, you're not probably going to remember to do that. But if your venue has paper straws or plastic straws,
Oh,
hashtag save the environment, hopefully for paper straws, it's really handy if you can have some sips of water all through a straw so you don't ruin your makeup. And speaking of makeup, something that the grooms might forget
Tell me.
is create an invisible barrier as you're greeting guests before the wedding.
Oh, yeah,
Because when
good
people
point.
are wearing makeup, you can get makeup stains on your suit.
I reckon half the weddings I do before the ceremony, I'm walking along to all the people in suits and brushing their shoulders of makeup and being like to the groom, "You've got makeup all over your shoulder, mate."
Put your hand out.
Yeah, shake your hand.
Yeah.
I usually, when I see, if I'm going to see the bride beforehand or whatever, I'll give her like an air kiss and be like, "Don't ruin your makeup. Mwah, mwah, mwah. You look amazing."
You're so considerate.
I am considerate.
If those things happen with weddings, with the makeup on your suit, you can have something called an enter explicit warning, an oh shit kit. They're very handy to have. So if you have a little bridal suite room where you can retreat to during the wedding, or maybe someone's hidden it in like a bush nearby, maybe under a chair, in that oh shit kit. And I've married a nurse and a paramedic before, and they had a full emergency kit. It was fantastic.
Fun.
In a full red toolbox, she had the works. But if you don't have the space or the resources for that, we can have other things, a small packet, maybe of cotton tip buds, tissues, makeup wipes, baby wipes, Band-Aids, Nurofen. What else could we have? Hydrolite.
Feels like we're at a
Berocca.
pharmacy. Oh my God. These are all the things that I need right now.
And to get that makeup off, please don't wipe it with a wet cloth, because that will make it have a damp mark, which
What do
may
you
not
do?
dry in time.
Spit on your finger and rub it around.
Well, it depends on the colour of your suit and the material.
What do you do?
Well, leave it to mum. I'm not
Really?
sure.
You don't know?
Leave it to
What if you are, Mum?
Because I learnt the hard way
Oh, yeah.
in one of my very first weddings where the groom had a beige suit. He looked fantastic and he got makeup on it and it really shows on a beige
Yeah.
suit. And I wiped it with a baby wipe and I got in trouble by his mum. She said, you just need to dab it.
Oh, yeah,
Dab,
dabbing.
dab, dab.
Yeah. I did know this. A friend of mine's dad was like a commercial cleaner for years and years, and I went to his house and I spilled a glass of red wine on his nice carpet.
Oh, no.
I know, panic stations. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And he goes, it's all good. Watch this. And he comes out, I think, with a dry cloth and he's dab, 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 because it's absorbing everything with the dry cloth, right? He wrings it out, dab, dab, just keeps dabbing. And he's like, it'll come out. He got it all out just by dabbing. Then he went wet to get any excess. Then he went the cleaning product and it was gone on his
We've
beautiful
gone
carpet.
from the pharmacy to doing some CPR.
It was beautiful. Staying alive. Hey,
Hey,
what about the way people get places and to do things?
transport.
That's what I'm saying. From places to places.
Particularly when it comes to your wedding.
That's what.
So if you have a large wedding party, there are a lot of logistics to think about. So you can always think about how you're getting to the wedding, but often when I say after the ceremony, what happens with your wedding party? And they go, oh, I didn't think about that because we've got a 10-person wedding party and one car.
Yeah.
So what do? We don't rely on Ubers because they can cancel.
Yeah.
We can reach out to our photographers. Sorry, photographers, if you don't offer this service. But sometimes photographers are kind enough to drive you around for your portrait
Yeah, I've seen
photos.
that. I've seen that for sure.
Sometimes people have some super duper cool cars.
Yep.
I've seen some siblings with some 4-wheel drives decked out and they like to take those Parados or the Toyota Hilux
Yeah.
and take everybody around.
But it's a good point because like some couples, will spend a lot of money on nice cars and stuff to get them around places, sweet or combi vans. We see a lot as well.
Yes,
Maybe that's not
Palmy
in
by
your
Combi or
budget.
Combi Weddings. Highly recommend that team if you're on the Northern Beaches.
Yeah, but maybe that's not on your budget, and you're just like, oh, my dad drives this car, so maybe we'll get him to drive us around during that part if he's okay with that. Or I've also seen it's like dad's friend who we know not invited to the wedding, but is happy to
Nice
be
way
there.
to include people.
Yeah, is going to help us out and do that or whatever.
But never assume, always ask and
Yeah.
do the numbers and work out who's going for your bridal party photos. Would you like to just do those bridal party photos at the ceremony so then it's just you and your partner going off in that one car?
Yeah.
Less logistics to think about and frequently forgotten.
I was just thinking about all those important people, right, in your lives, and I'm going to the ceremony now. Something we think about as well is that front row. We want to make sure that the most important people in your lives are sitting right at the front.
Yes,
for
and
the
they're often
ceremony.
walking you down the aisle.
Yep, exactly. So we need to think about saving those seats for them. How do you do that?
You ask your celebrant to be very proactive around
Yep,
that.
yep.
And if someone accidentally assumes that they have a more prestigious role in your wedding than maybe they do, you need to have an advocate. Usually aunties are very good at that.
Yes.
Saying, no, this is actually for the father of the bride, the mother of the bride, da-da-da-da-da. Grandma's going here and I'm going to go here.
And we hear a lot as well, and I agree with this sentiment, and I love it if there's seats, is like, no sides, we're all family, we're all friends here, don't care, whatever. Sit
Pick
wherever.
a seat, not a side.
Yes, love
We're
that.
all family once the knot is tied. Write that down.
Done. I just wrote it down in my head mentally. But then you might want just, your parents and siblings in the front row, so they're watching onto you. They might be right in front of you. You might actually have them on the opposite side, so when you turn to do your vows, they're looking at your face and not at the back of your head, which I love as well. Something that I do if they don't, because obviously the easy way to do this is just have reserved signs with their names on it. But if you don't have that, which is most of the time, I will go up to whoever's staying there. I might have the brother there and be like, hey, front row is for your family. Can you fill that with immediate family first? So then the brother goes around, Mum, Dad, whatever, sit down. And then once they're sitting there, I'll get on the microphone and go, okay, please fill the seats. Immediate family are already where they need to be. We're all friends here. Come right up to the front, whatever. So all the seats that are available are open for grabs.
Yeah, and I say, please stop being so polite. Fill the seats or we're not starting. Photographers like a
right.
full house.
Yeah.
And groom, come on, auction them.
Yeah,
They're
right.
for free. You get a seat.
I get really annoying until everyone's sitting down because you don't want empty seats in your photos. People are all weird about sitting down. Don't be weird about sitting down
Just
at a wedding.
sit down.
Sit down and get over yourself. If there's a seat and they want you to sit down, sit down. It's not that hard to sit down. Sitting down's
not hard.
great. Everyone's like, oh, I want to stand in the back. Just sit down, you stupid Georgia,
These
I
week arms are
have
heavy.
forgotten an appointment that I have to get to.
Oh,
Happens to me a lot.
but hey, Did you take your phone out of your pocket before you got up and did your ceremony?
What?
'Cause-
Oh, I was trying to segue out of the episode. You got something else for
know.
me? All right. You turn back into it. Now I have to think of another way to end this episode. Go on. What do you got?
I was just going to say, if you are a groomsman, a bridesmaid, a wedding party member, take your phone out of your pocket.
Such a good point.
Get your sunglasses off. It is not the time.
Yeah. I had my groom yesterday literally had the sunglasses on top of his head before the ceremony was starting. And I was like, oh, dude, get your sunglasses off. If you have to have things in your pocket, if you're standing up there, if you're wearing a suit, back pocket, please. Put them in your back pocket. You don't need anything on you, though, unless you're holding the rings. So give them off to somebody that you know. And
We
let them
also
hold
don't
on to
want
your
rings
things.
in pockets either. Nothing bulging.
Nothing bulky, nothing bulging, unless it's natural. And that's up to you. Georgia,
It's not up to you.
have you now got any more points to make before I segue out of this episode?
No, I think you need to take a left turn and go to your immediate
I'm not
exit.
letting you end this episode on a car analogy. It makes no sense. Are you ready?
Drive safe.
Oh, for God's sake.
Hey, thanks for listening.
We are so happy that you listened. I'm over the moon. In fact, if you want a little bit more, follow us on the socials. Where are we?
You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Left on Wed Podcast.
And if you want to inquire with our services for Celebrant MC and coordination, you can find Georgia at Georgia Fletcher Celebrant.
And you can find Adam at Married by Adam.
Hey, if you have any ideas, questions, topics for episodes, please slide into our DMs. You can send us an email as well, which is
leftonwedpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you're loving the podcast, please tell your friends, tell people who are getting hitched. We need you to spread the word like wildfire. Get it out there.
We really want to say a big thank you to Long Reef Golf Club as well for letting us record the podcast here at their incredible wedding venue. So inquire with them today if you're looking for the perfect wedding venue for your private event or your wedding.
See you there soon, Georgia.
See you there.